Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 10th meeting of the Lakeville Conservation Commission. We are being recorded by LakeCAM. Is anyone else recording? Seeing as there are none, we will start with introducing ourselves.
John LeBlanc, Joshua Faraday,
Nancy Yates.
Joseph Chamberlain.
Bob Bouchard.
Michelle Bouchard.
All right, first on the agenda, Charles River Wheelers. Is there anybody here representing them? They said they would try to come when I spoke with them. All right, so I'll read.
I know we have given them
Permission before. All right,
but
so I'll read the email.
I wish they'd learn how to spell tamarack.
And Park.
So here's the email that was forwarded, I guess, from Tracy and to Lori. We would like the Lakeville Conservation Commission consideration for, it should be apostrophe S, Joe. Consideration for Charles River Reelers to use Tamarack Park again for a club ride on Sunday, October 13th. We expect the same number of riders and usage experience as last year. Thank you for your consideration. This guy needs to have a little meeting with Joe. There's more mistakes in these few sentences.
Blame it on our electronic masters.
So we've had them use it before.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Has there ever been a problem?
no.
No, I don't
No,
think so.
they
Right?
clean
No,
up real
they
well.
have a water table, they clean up after themselves.
Well,
Do
I'd like-
they pay Chief Perkins for, traffic control?
That would be through the Board of Selectmen, because they have to get permission to go through town from the Board of Selectmen, so that would be their purview to make sure that they do have the police, usually at the end of Highland Road.
Are we expecting them to show up tonight?
Well, when I asked if they were gonna show up, and they said they would try to get somebody there, because I did call.
I think they couldn't make it last time either. Because of
I don't know where they come from, to tell you the truth. I mean, how far a drive?
The guy that's been showing up comes quite some distance
Yeah.
away. They're essentially a Boston-based outfit, but they deal in all the suburbs, everything. He's not local, I know that.
John
Did the Charles River
D'Antremont.
give it away?
Yes, yeah.
So. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Discussion? Okay, motion.
I motion to allow Charles River Wheelers to use Tamarack Park for their club ride on Sunday, October 13th.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
We must have something in the contract, if you will, from previous years. You know, clean up after yourself and have traffic control and so forth like that, right?
Yeah, it is.
Carry
Yeah.
in, carry out of trash. Do we set hours?
No, we've never
I
set
I
hours.
think the
50
park is
something.
open from dusk to dawn,
Sun-
or whatever
yeah.
it
They-
is.
Sun
they-
to sundown?
And they have the hours, I think the hours that they mentioned in the request,
Yeah.
did they mention the hours? I think they did.
I don't see it
It
either.
says just same as
Last
Last
year.
last 2
year.
years.
They didn't give us
Usually in the
last year.
morning,
I
they're
think it was
usually
like
done by,
10 to 1 or something like that.
yeah, I was
Something
gonna
like-
say.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
a waypoint, right?
Yeah, it's a waypoint itself, yeah.
Oh, from last year, it was 8:45 AM to 12:30.
Yeah, there you go,
Okay.
yeah.
And I know from our previous discussions with them, they know what our expectations are.
Yep.
And they've met them. I don't remember there being an issue last time, so.
Yeah, these groups are generally very well organized.
Yeah, if they didn't clean up, then it would be a red flag and we'd remember it, so I think they've always been pretty respectful of the property. So, I have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, review job descriptions. The Board of Selectmen's, I don't know if it was the last meeting or the meeting before, the planning board, 2 planning board members have brought before them,
Can I interrupt you?
yes,
Is anyone gonna talk about it
about what?
from the public?
About,
These job descriptions.
Job descriptions?
No, nobody's here for that.
Then I'll make a motion to table this to the end of our meeting.
Second.
I don't think we need to make them sit through whatever discussion we're gonna have about it.
Josh, you
Well,
were
wait a
reading my
minute.
mind.
well, here's the thing. I said I will put it first on the agenda because there are a lot of people watching what decision we're gonna
Okay,
make.
okay,
And I wasn't gonna make them sit through the whole meeting to do
gotcha,
that.
gotcha.
I don't think that we have,
Well, I'll make the
Any
motion, I'll make the motion to
Yeah.
table it, and if, that's my motion.
I seconded
Okay.
it.
And you seconded it. So discussion.
My input is that I think that it's one thing for us to have a discussion on the conservation agent and put more meat into the job description. I don't think we have any place to comment on the town planners unless they're expanding the role to discuss land use.
There's 3 job descriptions there. So the only choice that we would be asked to respond to tonight would be, do we want a conservation agent ourselves, or do we want the planning coordinator? The town planner one was just in there at the meeting that I was asked to go to. Okay, the only decision that we're looking at tonight is that, and I didn't even put on there about the job description, because if
Before we get too tied up in this.
Yep.
We got a motion and a second.
Okay.
Can we vote on that? And then if it fails, we'll have this discussion.
Okay,
I'll make a comment on my motion.
okay,
LakeCAM is very good at posting the meetings, and whoever you promise that it would be done timely can watch it at their own leisure tomorrow. I just don't
Okay.
think it's fair to the people that are in front of us right now to be dealing with this.
okay.
Is anybody here to talk about the job descriptions and postings in person?
Okay. So motion and a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I guess so. Sorry, whoever I don't even remember.
Should I
I just
put
know
all
I
but
said at the
Nancy?
meeting I will put it on first. so-
You did.
I tried.
We
How's
just,
that?
it was a
Okay.
motion to table it. We'll
Okay.
take it up
we're
later
gonna-
in the
We're still
meeting.
gonna talk
Okay.
about it tonight.
Okay. All right, so then, is there anybody here for 310 Kenneth Welch Drive? All right, so I need a motion.
You're gonna try to do 4 of them?
Yep, I'm gonna need a motion, 5.
5 of them.
Okay, I would like to have a motion to continue to September 24th at 7 PM at the police station. 310 Kenneth Welch Drive, 2 Bedford Street, off Freetown Street, also known as Rocky Woods, Pinecrest Village, and 43 Main Street.
So moved.
Second.
Wait a minute. Did you have 217 county?
No, because I'm only doing what's in a row.
Yeah, well, that was the next one. All
No,
right.
160 County Street is up, and then I'll do Wildwood and 217 County afterwards.
All right, I
I was
understand.
trying to keep them in order,
Yeah, you're right, okay.
okay? So I have a motion and a second. Did I get a second?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 160 Bedford Street.
Good evening, my name is Rich Rion. I'm Chief Engineer at Prime Engineering. And we submitted, this plan for your approval that included removal of fill that was placed in the highway layout and the creation of a detention basin to mitigate for storm runoff. And at the following, the meeting that opened on this, the commission basically said, well, we want an ANRAD and we want testing of water and groundwater and the like. Followed up with a letter to us. And so we sent a letter back September 3rd that basically said we will file for MISA. The Natural Heritage came back and said there were no endangered species. But they said there's a biomap, so there may be other critters of interest. So we will this week file with MISA, and we expect them to say everything's fine. And number 2, we're going to get some August samples to show soil profile near the existing wetlands. We're also gonna get you some plans, because over the years, the predecessors in title had us delineate wetlands, so we've had historic wetlands delineation, and the current wetland delineations are the same as those, so I think we're gonna show you between that and a whole series of aerial photos, Google Earth, going back a couple of decades to show that there hasn't been impact to the wetlands. And then we're going to come in and screen, sample, and test superficial soil for contaminants. We have an XRF meter that basically can read metals on an instant basis. It screens it. And then we would grab samples and test for total petroleum, hydrocarbon, and light contaminants, and then report back to you. We'd also test the groundwater for a suspected, and then we're providing historic photos. And then we're proposing test pits in the area of the detention basin at the time of the construction to verify the groundwater and the material. We weren't relying on infiltration, and it's constructed pocket wetlands, so it needs to be notched into the water table. So it's possible that the water table is actually a little lower than we anticipated. So it's just gonna make the detention basin a little bit deeper if our test pits at that time indicate a lower groundwater. For constructed pocket wetlands to thrive and function to clean contaminants, it really needs to have good growth in the shallow and deep marsh. And so we don't have any of the results for this, but we wanted to come back and report and find out whether there's anything else that the commission wanted us to do.
I believe from when we spoke to the neighbors, like these maps that you have given us, or the satellite imagery that you've, in the aerial, only go back to 2015. I think in that corner where you want to put the basin, there was a question if that was a small, and I don't know if it was isolated, you know, land subject to flooding, if it was a small wetland, but I think that the thought was that there was a little piece of wetland there at one point, probably before 2015.
There was a wetlands a little bit more to the south that was truly isolated, non-jurisdictional. It didn't hold a quarter acre foot. And then somebody years ago unwittingly tried to drain that low spot out, and they connected it to the BVW. So what had been non-jurisdictional isolated land subject to flooding became bordering vegetated wetlands. And we showed as a ditch on this plan, this area right here. You can follow up the ditches. The ditches dry 90% of the year, but it's clear that if you get enough water in that small depression, that it would follow that, and it connects to the bordering vegetated wetlands that's at when.
Is that the one that like goes under their driveway? Is that what you're pointing to? Because when John and I went out there, right, John, there was water in it.
Yep.
When you guys go out there?
Mm-hmm.
This summer?
No, about a month ago.
I think it was
June,
2
July?
months ago.
Two?
I think so.
I've been there a number of times and I've always seen water.
Okay.
It's irrelevant whether there's water in it, because I'm telling you that because it was connected
It's
to
jurisdictional.
the, it's jurisdictional,
Okay.
and end of story.
Right.
Okay, all right, well, I just thought you said it was dry, so that's why I was just asking. All right, that's fine. All right, so the question is, and you did, you have the DEP comments, correct?
Oh, I wasn't familiar with the DEP comments. They commented besides, did they not issue a file number?
Yeah, 192/09/25,
Okay.
9/25. If you wanna,
Oh, no, that's okay. That'd be online. I can,
okay, cause
can
it's
download
quite lengthy.
yeah, DEP has been very aggressive lately with lots of questions. And usually we can answer all the questions. It's just,
They're keeping you on.
yeah.
Right, and basically they're saying your ORAD is run out and and that was, 08/09, and now it's 09/25, so that was a long time ago, it ran out, and they're basically saying what you're doing to do a new ANRAD.
Right. The way the regulations read is it's the proponent's option of either doing a request for determination of applicability on ANRAD or file a notice of intent with the delineation shown. And in either case, the commission says, yes, that's the correct line, yes, that's the
Right,
correct
okay.
line.
Right,
The only reason to do an ANRAD is to save yourself the trouble of drawing up all the plans and then finding out that the line is different and having to redo your plans. But I would say out of 100 projects, we maybe do 3 ANRADs, and the rest are either notice of intent or RDAs.
comments?
Yeah, question. Rich, you're not doing a 21E, right?
No,
Okay. The testing you're doing is for petroleum products?
right, and metals,
My concern always is more antifreeze than anything else, because antifreeze is designed to mix with water, and the oils, the petroleum, you can get rid of a lot easier. Does it consider doing that, considering the activities there?
I'm a licensed site professional, so I do hazardous waste assessment day in, day out.
Yep.
We've found that petroleum tends to chelate to the soil. So usually we can surgically remove it in the top 6 inches.
Top 6
It
inches, yeah.
doesn't go, gasoline goes, you're right, antifreeze
Antifreeze.
goes. But we should be able to detect that in the water table, just down gradient of those areas. Over the years, I think we all drove by there and saw a lot of junk accumulated near the old train station. And so we'll focus on that, and we'll focus on any kind of storage that we see in the photos in the back, because back 10, 15 years ago, you see that there was objects, can't tell exactly what they were, in that back area. So we'll screen that area, and we find anything that's of concern, we'll sample it. And if it's a small quantity, as a licensed site professional, I can order a limited removal action. In other words, I can say, hey, take these 2 cubic yards of soil out of here, manifest it, bring it to a proper disposal site. If it ends up being a large quantity, then we have to report to DEP, and it goes from there.
What's the cutoff point? At what point, X cubic inches or cubic feet or anything like that? How much does it have to be before it's reportable?
It's in gallons and yards, but I don't expect us to exceed anything where we'd have to report to DEP. It'd be, as I said, a limited removal action where I basically sign and stamp as a LSP.
It's not the abundance, it's the concentration and the nature, the type of material that's there. If in your screening effort, if you detect oil, for example, oil or grease or whatever, that would, when you say at that point you would trigger doing priority pollutants.
It isn't just petroleum. There may be lead, there may be arsenic.
That's why I'm saying that.
There are a lot of different compounds. Our screening tool, the XRF, can detect parts per million, and it has very good correlation with lab analysis. So we can pretty much say, yep, it's clean, and find a hot spot. We'll grab a soil sample and send it to the lab for confirmation. So we have not a screening, but an actual sample results. And then when we're cleaning it up, again, we can use the screening to make sure that we get all of that particular compound. There are parts of the state where arsenic is naturally occurring. It's just, it's there, and it's in everybody's backyard.
Just about anywhere you go in the world now, you can find something.
Yeah.
Do we have a peer review engineer on this?
No, because they haven't done anything yet, they're
Well,
just,
they filed for a notice of intent, right?
right, but,
As a result of getting a enforcement order.
right, they got an enforcement order, they filed a notice of intent. We told them, we don't wanna look at what they're doing here until they go back and do these things that they're showing here.
But do we even know this is the complete list of what we want? Or-
No, that's why we're talking about
Yeah,
it,
so I would suggest at this point,
yes,
we get a peer review and confer with them on they're asking us to sign off on this list. If we don't know it's a comprehensive list, it's everything we want, maybe we get the peer review guy involved now.
Why don't we see where we are with the enforcement order before we even, where are we with that?
well, this is their answer to the enforcement
Right.
order,
Right,
correct?
correct.
Has
Right.
anything
And
changed
has
on
it-
site since
but-
you got the enforcement on?
This
Huh?
doesn't mention any of the vehicles or,
So,
But that's
yeah,
not-
the last meeting, you basically said, hey, we want you to file an ANRAD, and we want you to do
And you
these
filed a notice of
screenings.
intent instead.
Well, we had already filed a notice of intent. You said, we're going to continue the hearing on the notice of intent until we've processed an ANRAD, and do this testing. The problem with the peer review in this case is you could go to Brandon Shaniff, who's a very, very good wetland scientist, and he'll readily admit that he doesn't know anything about chemical analysis of contaminants from storage. You wouldn't be able to go to a wetland scientist other than for the wetland delineation.
Anybody else?
Well, we don't necessarily have to hire Brandon, we can find an engineer that deals in this, right? Are we limited to,
No, we're
Just
not
wetlands.
limited to Brandon.
And we can
We're
do
not
it at
limited
any
to-
time.
Pardon?
We can do it at any time.
Yeah. There are other firms that have civil and environmental.
Like environmental partners probably that we've used before.
In my opinion, Rich, it looks like you have a lot of homework
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah,
And I don't know really how I feel about the test pits being dug at the time of construction to verify groundwater. I mean, the site's already pretty disturbed. Why don't you do it before?
We hadn't decided where the detention basin was gonna go. We feel fairly confident because we've got wetlands on either side of that area.
you're talking about that back corner now where all the trucks are parked over there now?
Right, the
Yeah.
detention basin would go in that northeast corner. And just over the line, there's wetlands.
Yeah.
And just to the south, there are
Yeah.
wetlands. So the water table is not likely to be lower. If anything, it might be a slight mound. It might be 8 inches higher than that nearby wetlands.
So you're gonna be excavating part of that anyway?
Yeah, oh yeah, we're digging down to water table right there.
Yeah. And that's where all those vehicles are parked now. So that might be where you're gonna find some stuff. I would think. That stuff's been sitting there for a long time.
They also have something from the Board of Selectmen that says they have so many days to remove the vehicles. That's not our purview. Our purview is to try to figure out what's been done already without permitting, because the difference in the aerial views that you're looking at are very different.
But we don't know what's in the ground until they get that stuff off the ground, so we can see what's possibly
Right.
penetrated into the ground, and that's a major concern.
Well, I think there are some things that they can get started on.
Oh, they can get started on this whole list.
Right.
But my question is it a complete list?
But we can always add to it. I mean, we could get them started on this, and then when the results come back, then we ask for a peer review to go over your results. But there is stuff like by our next meeting, there's no, can you file with MISA? Have you filed with MISA yet?
No, I will file later this week.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. There is stuff that I'd like to see by the next meeting, like the filing with MISA.
I agree with that.
And what else on here could we see by our next meeting in 2 weeks?
I don't know that MISA would respond in 2 weeks.
They don't have to respond. We just want to see that you filed.
Oh, okay.
I know they don't respond overnight, believe me. But I'd like to see that you filed. I mean, we want to see something happening.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. What else would be reasonable?
I mean, I don't see why any of this can't get done in the next 2 weeks, a month, anyway. But I don't want to sign off on this being the complete list.
No, I don't think we are. This is what he's saying he's gonna do. So you're gonna do this, and then we'll see if there's anything,
Well,
if we
he's
want
asking-
more.
He's asking, confirm that you agree with this plan of action.
Please confirm you agree with this plan
And
of
I
action.
agree that this is part of it. It may
Okay.
be all of it, but I'd like to consult an engineer and get an opinion.
Okay, I can give you a second letter that says that the standard protocol in the environmental industry is to go and do screening and preliminary sampling. And then if it's indicated to do further screening and further sampling, you basically wouldn't riddle this area with borings and monitoring wells. You would basically take a step approach. And I'll confirm in writing that we will have a staged approach. If after the screening, we come to the conclusion that no additional sampling and analysis needs to be done, then we'll present that to you, and if you have a peer reviewer look at it, they either say, yes, we agree, or no, we think you ought to do this kind of sample and this kind of test.
Yeah.
There's no,
But I'm not gonna, I think that, yes, this is my opinion, you should get started on this list. I wanna see by our next meeting, your application to MISA and how far you've gotten on this list. But we are in no way, shape, or form should say that we agree this is a completed, plan of action. Because like John said, maybe we would wanna add some more stuff, so we're not gonna agree. I mean, I guess we could agree this is a first step, but not, right, the total. Josh, you're being awful quiet.
I'm just thinking.
Okay,
Rich,
So-
this punch list that you gave us, how quickly do you think you get this stuff done?
this stuff will be done this month.
Do you think you can get it done by the next meeting, which is in 2 weeks?
Not laboratory analysis.
Okay.
No. But we can do screening, and we
if we
can
go
do
out a month-
observations and come back and give you, okay, this is what we have. I know there's conjecture that maybe there could have been some release of chemicals on this site, as in most sites in Lakeville. And as long as you make every major project do this type of analysis,
Well-
that's fine, we'll do it, but don't don't single us out and say,
Well,
well, you
when-
have to do chemical analysis.
You're
but
not
the
being
next guy
singled
doesn't.
out. You guys have been parking vehicles in a place that was never authorized to be a place to park vehicles, correct?
Yeah,
And there's some conjecture as to some of that being filled.
A lot of it.
So that's why we're curious about and trying to be careful about if there is contamination there. We want to know about it. We want to make sure it's taken out correctly.
yeah.
The site has a history, you know, it's not like we're doing it blindly.
And honestly, anybody else in this instance would be required to do it.
Yeah.
So,
I think we required the same thing for LeBaron when they had all that
Right.
fill along the riverfront.
Yep.
so you're not being singled out.
Okay,
But I don't wanna go out a month. I would like to see you back here in 2 weeks and with an update on your progress.
And
Like, has
I
the
don't-
material been sent to the lab? No, you don't think so?
I think he could easily do that by an email to the office.
Okay.
If he's just gonna tell us that where he is in the process. I mean, we got, what, 6 or 7 things already continued to our next meeting?
True.
God forbid they all show up at once.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Joe?
do we have people out there who wish to speak on this?
so
Yes, we do. All right.
I'll
One
give
minute.
I'll give you a comprehensive letter reporting what we've done, what we haven't done, and a timetable for completing the work we haven't done
That's good.
Could,
prior to your next meeting. So it's in your packet.
could I add a
Yeah.
couple things that will help you and help us as well? Any cleanup, any substantive changes, document with pictures as well. Or any findings and any sampling that you're doing when you're getting those results.
Yeah. If-
Send us the actual results, not just an email that says we sampled and the results came back negative, no findings. The actual copies of the lab results would be,
Yeah, even
Would
if we
be
do a limited
required.
removal action where we're not reporting to DEP, we still generate a report that documents the sampling points, the lab results, everything that we did, and it's there, and it's not submitted to DEP, and it's not a listed site, but we'll gladly share that with you.
and that would be significantly helpful for us. And it'll help expedite the whole process, and then we can make a list and check it off. And I think an email with a list in 2 weeks' time would be just fine for us to document progress on your behalf.
And then if you think it can be done in a month with everything, we can schedule you on that meeting. We can put it on.
Yeah, I'd like you to continue it for the month, for the 4 weeks out,
Okay,
because,
so that would be October.
yeah, we would be able to get, lab analysis back and tabulate it.
And if something changes and you want to be added to our next meeting in 2 weeks for some reason, let us know. Otherwise, if you can keep us updated with any progress.
Yeah, I'd like to continue with date specific, so,
So it'll be October 8th.
Yep.
Yep,
Is that doable?
Yep.
Or we would meet 2 weeks after that, October 22nd.
no, we'll do it. We'll do it 4 weeks out.
Okay.
Now, we've got a NOI and an ADRAD going at the same time, right?
You file an ANRAD? Did you
No.
file an ANRAD?
nope,
No, we just have an NOI,
So,
which is fine because that shows all the, right? It's an engineered plan and it includes all the resource areas. So
okay,
we have to agree to those resource areas.
okay, so as long as we complete all of these things and possibly some of the supplemental stuff, then we don't have to do an ADRAD, we can basically,
Well, it brings up the other question of, are we gonna agree with the wetland delineation? So that brings up another peer review with Brandon. Now, that would be his specialty.
yeah,
Yep. Unless we can find a company that can do both.
You said your tests were in parts per million on site?
parts per million when we're screening, yeah,
Yeah.
the instruments, it's a screening device, but
Right.
it gives us an idea of what to sample. Because we might go out there and take 20 samples, but they're all clean because they weren't screened, and if we screen and say, ooh, here's a elevated level, that's what we sample. So it's very good guidance, so that what we do sample and analyze is at least suspect, because most of this land is sand and gravel and no signs of impact from drippings or anything. And I agree, storing of old vehicles in the back is ill-advised and needs to be dealt with instantly.
And when you're pulling your samples, and I'm definitely not an expert on this, when you're pulling your samples, you're mapping where you're sampling.
Yes.
These locations are, labeling where those samples are taken, and then you put them in a glass jar or some type of holding, and
That's
then you
correct.
put your meter up to that.
We put our meter to that, and then we basically chain of custody to a laboratory.
To a lab.
We typically mark it with a stake and have our survey crew
Oh, okay.
locate it, so that
Okay.
we've got a very accurate location. Most environmental companies have cartoons, and you don't really know exactly where that sample was. And
Yeah, they're using a text phone with their GPS and their, yeah.
yeah, it's like it's within 10 feet. Well,
Right.
that's not good enough.
And so your plan is to sample the areas that we've identified for the basin and up towards Bedford Street?
Yeah, for years I drive by here and I saw all kinds of junk hanging around the area. And again, the predecessor entitled cleaned all of that up.
Right.
But there was always, and I'll show you in photographs, that there was stuff stockpiled in the back.
Right.
Bunch of tires, there used to be a bunch of tires, and, because that was a tire changing place for a
Yeah.
long time, right?
Tires really aren't
No.
bad. If they catch fire, they're very
Yeah,
bad.
that's,
So when you come back to us in a month, are you gonna have a plan identifying where your samples are taken?
Yeah.
Generated for us? Okay. I would be ready to make a motion, but I think there's some members of the audience that wanna participate.
All right, well, and I have like one, John, you're saying we wanna get one peer reviewer to do the whole thing?
If
So,
we
but
can.
But that wouldn't be until after the fact where all his stuff comes in.
Well, we filed in the notice of intent, you can have the wetlands line confirmed.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I would like to do that independently and get it over with.
well, why can't we get, if we can get somebody that can do both, why can't we get an opinion on?
Because we can get this right now.
No, but
Whereas-
my point is, a guy who knows something about this can sit here, look at this and say, oh, wait a minute, we need this too, we need this too, we need this. And we don't have to come back in a month and find out he has to do 10 more things, we could do it now.
All right, that's what you've been saying all
Yeah.
along. You want a peer reviewer now before.
To review this, the scope of work, and make sure it's
All right,
it's what we
anybody?
need.
That takes time. Where he could be starting and doing it
I'm not saying
already.
don't do this.
No, no, no.
Okay.
I'm saying,
I
Okay.
agree with John.
Okay.
Have them get started on what you wanna do, Rich. The punch list that you identified for us. We're gonna look into a peer reviewer to make sure the punch list is everything we actually need. And, I think we may be able to identify someone by our next meeting
Okay,
and take a vote to have them start reviewing.
Okay.
And then they might come back in a week and
say, you don't need to do
the
it.
punch list looks great, and then Rich comes back 2 weeks after that and says, here are our results.
Yeah,
okay, is that how we wanna do it?
Sure.
And so we're gonna hope that that person can do the wetland line too?
well, we can look at companies that can do both. If not, then Brandon can do the wetland line, and we can find somebody else to do that.
Your plan there, Rich, are those existing elevations?
Yeah. Well, this is combination, the
Of-
dashed lines are existing contours.
Yeah.
The solid lines
Are
are proposed.
proposed. It looks like the wetland would be fairly delineable by elevation, changes in elevation. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
That's what it looks like from here.
Have they ever been delineated, the wetlands on this site?
Well, they've been delineated, yeah, years ago. I mean, over the years, we
Yeah.
never submitted anything to the commission, so they never
Okay,
could confirm.
so we've never
But
verified.
it was done by wetland scientists.
I got you.
Who'd you have delineating them?
Pardon?
Who did you have delineating them?
Julie Goodman, who was on our staff at the time, was a wetland scientist. She ended up getting her landscape architecture stamp and went off to do landscape architecture.
Sure.
So we don't have currently anybody on staff. So
Right.
we've used people like Scott Goddard, Brandon Faniff. And
Yeah.
in fact, I'm gonna look to see whether Brandon was one person that did this 8 years ago for us. Because if he did, you probably don't wanna use him
Hire
on
him
the
to-
site. But Brandon is a very, very good wetland scientist.
Yep, we agree. All right, so is the commission done discussing? I think that we have people from the audience that would like to,
Does she sit at another mic, but do I
yeah, they can
leave?
sit at a different
You
mic.
can stay, Rich. If you guys want to speak, please come up to the
Come
mic.
up to a mic.
Hi, I just have a couple of questions.
Sit down so we
Yeah,
can get you on the
why don't
mic.
you get on the mic?
Just sit in front, close to the mic.
Give us your name, please.
Yeah.
Okay. How close,
Identify yourself, please.
Donna Catano, I abut the property that they're gonna do this work on. How close to the survey marks? Like if my property ends here and they have cars hanging over on my property, is that where they're gonna test the soil? There's wetlands there and we have vehicles parked over there.
When we're looking at the plan, that line that you're talking about, is it in the northwest corner?
I don't know
No,
northwest.
Uh,
I
okay.
think she's up in this,
Rich, are you right?
Yeah.
Rich, point to where you think her property is, where you just were
Oh,
pointing.
yeah, her property is right here, and north is up the page. So
Rich,
there's-
can you get some samples done on that property line?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, she's talking about right on the corner of my driveway.
Yeah, Wings Way,
Yeah. Oh,
right up here, there's
Right in
all
that corner.
wetlands there,
She owns two lots.
vehicles
Pardon?
are on my property, not your vehicles, but there are trailers parked there, been there for a year and a half, never moved. We don't know whether there's oil, gas, anything stored there in the wetlands. And where they have that much property, why would they have to make this catch basin right where my wetlands are? They have 1.75 acres, go up further.
Rich, can you do along both lots, because she has the front lot where her house is, and there's actually two lots
I guess she
there.
goes all the way back, right?
Yes, I do.
She has,
You
she has
got
two
this,
lots, the front lot that's her
All the way back.
her house, and then that next lot that goes all the way to Winsway is
Right.
her property as well, that there's not currently a house. There's not currently a house on that lot, right?
No, my son was gonna build there, but there's so many wetlands, he couldn't.
Correct, so
Okay.
that whole double lot is her
Correct.
property that abuts.
So we're basically grading the site, so the site drains into a forebay, goes through the wetlands, and goes out here. So it's taking the water away from your lot. So as far as hydraulically, it'll be an improvement. As far as you're saying that there's a sharp drop here, and they've got the car sticking out over the steep incline. I'll go out there tomorrow and take pictures of vehicles that are hanging over the precipice, and
Well, it
Oh,
is
yeah.
surveyed, you can see the survey stakes,
Yeah.
and you can see exactly where it is. And the other thing is, why does it have to be right on the wetlands? Can't it be further away? I mean, if they want their property, they paid for it, they can have whatever they want. Well, why does it have to abut my land within 3 feet?
there's wetlands. It's hard to.
I have a wetlands
There's a
map.
wetlands here, and there's a wetlands here, and we're in between those two wetlands. and we're constructing this as a pocket wetlands because it's very efficient at treating runoff.
They're almost creating an artificial wetland in the middle of those two wetlands
Right.
to deal with the stormwater management. Is the design of that system.
I can't tell by that map. I can only tell where my property is.
Right.
And, I know I have wetlands going all around. And I do know that, they even cut trees on my property, you know, to make things better on their property. And there's just so much going on over there and has been, and it seems like nobody really cares. So my next question to you would be, if this board can't see through what I believe is happening, who's above you?
DEP,
So I would.
Who is it?
the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection, DEP.
I would say that we
Lake in Lakeville.
haven't taken the stance of not caring. I mean, we've issued an enforcement order on the property. The select board has taken action to rectify what's going on there. I know historically it's been a lot, but when we look at these aerial images, you know, without seeing these aerial images, it's tough for anyone to know that this was happening before now. I mean, we look at aerial images from
2015?
2015 was the farthest back. But you also said on here you were gonna provide 20 years back, okay?
Okay, I have a copy of the natural, I have a lot of copies on a lot of things, and I have called year after year. I'm talking the last 30 years. I have called the town of Lakeville, reported the tire depot that was crazy. And I have wetlands, and now DEP has blocked them so they stay on my property. And I have that documentation too. So it just seems like my land is gonna get wetter and wetter, and if it's just because I'm a woman alone, come on.
Why do you say that DEP has blocked your,
Well, DEP, there was an easement granted in 1931. I can't remember the lady's name, I have it here. And at the Four Corners in Lakeville, the water drains all on my property, went under the street and drained over, heading towards Taunton. Mass Dot has helped me, and they have blocked it off, so now the water doesn't go off my property. So now with these people
so
helping.
they didn't really help you then?
No, they didn't help, but they think you're stupid enough to believe you're that open.
I think
And
she's
now we
talking
have-
about Department of Transportation.
Transportation,
DOT.
Yep.
Yeah, Mass Dot.
DOT,
yes.
yeah.
Mass Dot has done all kinds of things. They've even given me a map that is about the size of an ant. If you can read it, you can see it. But you can't get a bigger copy. I mean, I have just been dealing with this foolishness for years. And I just don't see that it's fair, because my tax bill comes, I pay it. So now I have to compromise with Mass Dot, and now these people that own 20-something acres have to put it right near the land where my land is? That don't make any sense.
Well, I don't think there's anything we can do about Mass Dot.
Oh, no,
That's kind of
no,
separate,
that's
right?
not your
Okay.
problem.
He's gonna agree to do testing up that
Yep.
property line, correct?
Yep.
And I believe that he believes, because he's a professional, that that's the best place to put that basin that will take the water away from that corner and bring it down the other way.
Right, away from her land.
Okay, and they're gonna do soil testing, the people all living out there, not having any sewerage or anything? Is that where he's gonna test?
I'll test right on the property. You had the property staked by a professional surveyor?
Yes, 4 times, but my stakes seem to disappear.
Can you tell me who that professional surveyor is?
It started with Flynn. I've had probably 4 of them. But my stakes, they just disappear. It's cost me at least $8,000 to have my property surveyed. And if I go out and walk, there are no more stakes. I just had it done the other day to the tune of $1,000.
And the stakes are there right now.
They are right, well, I only had it done last week. I don't
Okay.
think they've disappeared yet, but maybe.
Okay.
And who is the professional surveyor?
I don't even remember who I had. I've had, name them. They've all been there.
So.
Why don't
could
you reach out
provide-
to the conservation department when you have the name of the surveyor that did it, and we can get that to Rich. Rich is probably looking for the CAD files that were generated so that he can go out and
Yeah, I want to
look at the
confirm
line.
that
Yeah,
we
Okay.
agree with that
right.
delineation and that you're a professional surveyor, not.
Oh, yeah, no, it wasn't a
Little
Mickey
bit.
Mouse. The stakes are right out there.
No,
Okay,
I
but
can't think of their
it's in a
name.
program that he needs to see, so
Oh,
even if the
Middleborough?
stakes disappear, you'll be able to figure it out,
Yeah, well, we can put them back.
right?
yeah.
Well, the back one, Prime did too. They had their stakes in there. And they were very close to my stakes.
Okay,
I mean, within inches. It wasn't like it was a foot apart.
Okay.
all right.
So I don't know if theirs disappeared too, but
So
mine
if you
has.
call the office and let
I
us
can tell you
know,
right now, Nancy, I'll go get my purse because I had Madigan.
Oh,
I think it was Madigan.
okay.
Was that who you were thinking of, Bob?
Oh.
Madigan?
Yes.
That's correct, that's who.
Thank you.
adopted the last
Okay.
one.
okay,
I have
so
the
Rich,
conversation
Madigan,
Because they were
Okay.
trustees.
okay? So he's got it.
Okay.
All right, so now we have some other folks that,
He was,
Hi, Tim and Tara Wynn. We live on One Wynn Way. We've been there since 2000. There's been a lot of fill brought in. And when you're talking about testing, I don't know if you're talking about testing the first 7 feet down
And taken out in the back.
and taken out. So to back up, there's another problem. We've had multiple issues over there and zoning's been looking at it for a while. They don't even know if that's zone business.
That's not our
But
purview.
I know it's not
Yeah.
your problem, but how you're trying to put a parking lot in. And if it's zone residential, why are
Well,
we wasting?
no,
it?
they're
That-
actually,
that would-
they're
well, that would
trying to
still
put a
be-
retention basin in where that parking lot is.
And the other thing, you just pointed out where you're gonna offload the water, that's going into our wetlands where it goes across our driveway. Now the driveway is cracked and our wetlands have never been that high since I've been there. With all the earth that's been moved without permits. So I'd like to address that, like, you don't go get a permit, you bring in 7-10 feet of fill, and then you come in with a plan to do this.
For the train station part, but then recently I filmed them taking out loads and loads and loads of fill and brought it down to Rainham to where they're doing something development over there. And I have that on video.
And they're removing material,
They're
Correct.
removing material
which
without permits.
needs to be licensed by the select board.
earth removal
Earth-
permit,
Earth removal permit.
They're not getting that permit.
They don't have
So,
any.
over the time, they're operating multiple businesses out there. I know this isn't your problem, but the police have been called. They showed up in one instance. They had a lot of people there not speaking English right before midnight. They were transferring cars back, and the individual that they could identify was from Paul Bunker Drive in Taunton. So something's going on there. I don't know what it is, but it's at midnight,
It's very
and
late
they're
at night,
transferring
so I call-
cars,
yeah.
and the police
I have
aren't
to call
even,
once a week. to
and the police aren't even pulling permits. I know
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not your problem, but it needs to be identified
Sure.
because it's not your problem that the cars are there when they're not supposed to be with no licenses. They're running a Haitian transportation of cars that are going now. That's what's in the police report, not
Yep.
my words, right in the police report, and they're supposedly taking this stuff and fixing it up, putting it on those 18-wheeler trailers and getting it out of it. I know that's
Yeah.
not your problem, but the
I
problem is
understand your
that
concern. It's
there is
just-
no licenses to do that. So you're going to talk about giving them a license to do this, but there's no licenses for them to be operating these vehicles. So one department needs to talk to the other department. And, do you know what I mean? You guys are
No,
doing
I-
the best you can on your job, but there's also multiple issues going across multiple departments, and no one seems to be taking this. The reason that it happened with the select committee on the unregistered vehicles is because I had to do it. And it took me months to do it.
Sure.
And I was not getting the help, I was not getting the support that I needed. So now we're talking about conservation. My driveway's crumbling, the only spot it's crumbling in like the 1,000 feet I have is right where those wetlands have changed, where all the fill has been changed and the wetlands have all been changed. That needs to be rectified. That needs to be looked at, and I don't have Google Earth for going back 20 years, but I can tell you with my own eyes, I lived there, it was muck. I used to walk my dog out there, and I used to sink.
Yeah.
Now they're parking
Now
cars
it's way
on it.
higher, the elevation.
Donna has her land, it was relatively close to where her wetlands was, there was a train track in the middle, an old train bed, and they were kind of even, do you know what I mean? And now they're not. So now the water has already run into my property. And the damage is already done to my driveway. And how does that get rectified? Do you know what I mean? Like now you're talking about dumping that retention water right into those wetlands that's going right into my driveway. So I'm taking all of his land now and I'm gonna eat his water? Is that what this plan says? Is that what I just heard?
Who should we talk to?
To just,
DEP.
DEP.
Yeah,
Nobody
so-
sees
I did go to
anything.
the DEP told me I had to start with you guys. So
And
I
I
have to-
forwarded the DEP, everything that has been submitted so far, including the enforcement order went to DEP.
Then you need to
So
go back
DEP
to-
enforcement has to get involved. I mean, this is, you don't just move earth around with no permits and then affect neighbors' property and expect, let us just do a couple test samples of some fill that we brought in from who knows where without permits. So you're gonna go down 20, 30 feet to find out what's there? He's talking about a water table up 8 inches from the last time. I could tell you where the water table was. Do you know what I mean? I just don't have the maps. But I've lived there. I've driven up and down that driveway every day for 20 years.
20-something years.
Do you know what I mean? So I visually can see what's going on. And right now, we're operating all those multiple businesses. We have the antifreeze you keep mentioning all over. We have no idea what's in the storage trailers. No one can tell us what's in the storage trailers. When you've asked the question before to the fellow that was here before, he gave you an answer, I don't know, they're just storage trailers. Well, what's in them? Is it arsenic? I don't know. You don't know, I don't know. And they're doing that without a license. They're doing it illegally. There is no business license. And I know it's not your preview, but this has to be discussed.
Well, it's not really gonna be discussed by this board.
Correct, but I'm
We're
trying to
dealing
get...
with the wetland applications.
Correct, so the wetland applications is, don't you need to put it back the way it was?
Well, first you need to do tests to see what's there. And that's where we are right now.
But how about the fill that was brought in without your permission?
so we haven't gotten to a lot of what comes next yet, and we,
All right,
we
well, I don't know, I
We
don't.
understand the
I got
frustration.
permits when I built my house, I got
Yeah,
approval,
you did it
I
legally.
did it all the right way.
We appreciate that. One thing to understand, when we leave today, we have this punch list we keep talking about, right?
Mhm. I haven't seen
That-
that, I don't have a copy of it. so I
that-
don't know what it is.
That doesn't say he can walk out the door with this and do all the work that they're proposing here.
But you just
That-
mentioned in the punch list, I have no idea what it was, you didn't read the punch list, I don't know what it is. I
That's
don't know
okay,
if it's
that's why I'm-
excavators coming in, I don't know
No.
what it is.
If you'll just give me one moment, please. That's why I'm trying to back up and just explain. Clearly, we're not saying you can go forth and build this retention pond as long as you take some test pits and we're okay. What we're saying is you can't just go forth and do whatever you want because what you did is done. What we want to do is take it one step at a time, and we're gonna explore a couple of things. And the first thing we have to do is figure out what is the damage that has been done and what is the extent of the damage. And a good chunk of that is gonna be lifting the veil of, first of all, clean up the mess. We don't know how much is leached into the ground, how deeply, how badly. And so first we have to remove what's there and look underneath. So we do have to take samples,
How
we've
about
gotta
my
test the
driveway
soil.
with all the fill that's been brought in and now it's cracking? What gets done about that? And how my water levels are? higher than they've ever been.
To be honest, I don't know yet because that hasn't been,
Okay.
that wasn't
No, that's
put on
fine.
the discussion for tonight and we need to separate the issues and address
No, but that's
them one at a
fine. I have a
time.
cracked driveway now, and the only place that's cracked in the whole driveway is right there.
Okay. Hold it. This is public information. You come and get it.
That is the list we're talking about.
Yep, that's the list we're talking about. That's the pictures. It's all public information.
Okay.
That came up.
No, I
Anything
just-
that came up
You know what I mean?
tonight.
But the zoning thing is an issue too, because I would
Right,
think
but that is not, you know.
But to do this, it's not? To do that, it doesn't have to be zoned
If
business
he,
then?
he could put that to DEP, and as long as he answers the questions of what's been done, how they're gonna permit it after the fact, and DEP agrees with it, he can do that. Doesn't even make any difference about the zoning.
Okay.
If that's what he wants to do on a piece of property he owns, he can do that if it passes the order of conditions, peer review, and everything else. He can do
Well,
that
you're
because he's
talking
trying
about the
to,
drainage and stuff,
Yeah.
everything he's proposing
right,
here.
is drainage
Yeah, we're not
trying
talking
to
about
make it
operating a
better.
business that isn't, it's not zoned for.
Right.
That is, we don't have any
Right.
jurisdiction over that.
No,
Right, all
no,
we're
no.
deciding is if this is the best thing to deal
To
with.
clean up the wetlands.
Okay, all the berms that are around the wetlands, does that get addressed, or is that something that's after this?
Well, the
There's
berms that are around that pond are on a different piece of property.
No, I got them all up my driveway and around this
Oh,
area.
right, up the side of your driveway, correct.
I got them, they go up here.
Watch out for the cords.
And then they go around here.
Right,
They go around the whole
Yep.
thing. So basically, I don't know, but my understanding is you can't be putting 15-foot berms right on the wetlands.
well, that's not on your plan, Rich, correct?
That's correct, we're not showing a 15-foot.
But they exist now?
Yes,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So they were done without.
permits.
Yep.
Are they on his plan?
No,
So
this is a
that's-
proposal of what he wants to do. It's not a.
Well, he had
This-
current,
this
he had
isn't-
current elevations, so I figured that's an elevation, isn't it?
But it's not a comparison to what it might have looked like when you moved in 20 plus years ago to today. We're only
Okay.
looking at what he's proposing for a drainage.
No, I understand, but he
This-
said the
this
elevation
elevation's changed
was.
in the past couple of years since he
Yeah.
he bought it.
They're not addressing that issue on this proposal.
Okay.
So
But I'm-
you're saying the Phil's brought in the past 2 years?
Or
And taken
whenever-
out.
Whenever they bought the property, yeah, within the last couple of years.
They brought in, they made a parking lot out of it.
So, do you have any photographs of the trucks coming in? with
Yes.
soils?
Yes, we've called the police, we've notified the town,
Could you submit those
we-
photos to the commission?
but that's not their purview. Their purview, that's not their purview.
Well, the
right?
soil levels would
Right.
affect,
Yeah.
wetlands would be our purview.
Right,
But what is pictures gonna do? What, like?
Not pictures of the truck, but if you do have pictures that show and
The
are,
elevation
that
of
show
the-
we can use to compare elevation changes.
Well, we just
or
have pictures
fill
of
delivery.
trucks with big front end loaders loading 10-wheelers up, and we follow them to Rainham right on 44
that's
where the
on
new
the other
development was. But that was over here, further down, up towards my house.
Yeah, we have the Phil, I do have the video footage of Phil being removed. Trucks and trucks and trucks and trucks.
And this was reported to
And
the
this,
police
this,
department,
this was reported to
No,
the,
to the zone, to zoning, to Nate.
and what did
yeah.
it do?
within the
nothing.
last,
Really?
Yep.
I reported it right away. That was 2 months ago.
We had met with him and talked to him, and it happened that same day, and sent him an email with the pictures in it, and never heard a word.
But that front part that he's talking about, that was probably done, a year ago over a year ago, to get the elevation up from where the wetlands, where all the muck was. Yeah, to make that all flat, so we could put all that stuff in there.
I mean, there was overgrowth of like trees, and it was all muck, and it was all just trees, and
So, yeah, he
and it was
put,
all wet. It
he
would rain
built
and
that
there would be
berm.
big, huge puddles. And now those big, huge puddles are gone, and now they're coming into my lot.
within the past year, right? He built that berm.
I don't
was it
know
last
whenever he
summer?
bought
Was
it.
last
It's been
year?
going on for so long over there, but you're talking about removal of these cars. And that was supposed to be those 21 days from the select committee are coming up. and nothing's been done. I haven't gotten an update of what's going on there. They're saying they're gonna enforce it.
Okay, well, that's definitely, we need to move on.
All right, but, yeah, but what I'm saying is now he's proposing to, in his own words, to run that water into my property.
But he's not yet. That's just a proposal right there, and if that is the best way that detention pond would hold it back, and that would only be a little overflow onto,
Yes,
The wetlands?
there's a small orifice coming out of the basin.
right,
So it just seeps out slowly.
right.
It's,
That's what the basin is for, is to hold it back so it doesn't all flow out, is my understanding.
But it wasn't flowing before the contour of the land got
Right.
changed.
Right, but he also has to address that of what's been done that wasn't permitted, what kind of fill, and you're gonna go back 20 years and get the old wetland.
Yeah.
I would like to see the old wetland plan, so he has a list of starting to do
No,
something.
that's good. I mean, it's
Okay.
good. It's just,
All
all I'm
right.
saying is please
And
just
that's
follow
okay.
the law. Do you know what I mean?
And I
It's-
think we have a motion. You said you had a motion.
All right. So I'll make a motion to continue to our October 8th hearing at 7 PM in the Lakeville Police Station. Rich, you have identified a punch list, that you're gonna get started on.
Right.
The commission will also start looking for a peer review consultant that can do an analysis of the samples that you're giving us and potentially the wetland line. And they'll also look back historically at what the wetlands were before all the fill was brought in.
Can the DEP?
And we also are not agreeing that this is the total of everything we want. We're agreeing that this is a start.
Right. I mean,
I understand.
we haven't voted to issue an order of conditions yet.
Yeah,
Right.
well, that'd be a long way off.
I'll second your motion. If you're done with it.
Yeah.
With my addition, hopefully.
Correct.
And it's on LakeCAM, so when the secretary takes it off the thing, it will be,
I think Rich knows what he needs
Yeah.
to do.
yes.
I understand.
All right, so we have a motion and a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Rich, we'll still look for that interim,
Pardon?
we'll still look for that interim update in 2 weeks with how you're doing.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you all.
Nope, wrong one.
We got two more
Yes.
continuances?
Yeah, okay, so now I'm gonna look for a continuance to September 24th at 7 PM at the Lakeville Police Station for 4 Wildwood Road and 217 County Street.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. 7 Pine Haven.
Was that date on 4 Wildwood?
7:24, I'm sorry. You said-
9:24.
9:24.
Oh, 9:24, I'm sorry. I'm looking at something else over here.
Next year.
Yeah. Okay.
7 Pine Haven.
Can we, call for a break, timeout? Please.
LakeCAM, can we take a 5-minute break?
Yeah, can we take a 5-minute break, please?
good.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Sorry.
Steady. Watch out, I'll make Joe take you home.
Okay, welcome back. Here we are. All right, next up, 7 Pine Haven. Hi, Jamie.
Good evening. I'll try to make this somewhat quick.
Painless?
So, pre-COVID, well, first of all, 7 Pine Haven Lane. I'm Jamie Bisson at Zenith Consulting Engineers. Sorry. Pre-COVID, I had met with the commission and we did an RDA filing to shore up some area that was having some washout and undermining of the existing stone.
Revetment?
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of like a steep hill with stone placed on it. Anyways, that has held up pretty well. I was down there, but it's time to take the next step because you can see where it is undermining further along. And on the pond here, we've had really good luck with some precast walls. We've done several. Unlike the ocean, this isn't really subject to wave action. This is more, just rise with the rainfall and drop with the river. So our plan, our proposal is to install ready rock blocks, which we've done on a number of occasions in town.
Interlock and stuff.
They interlock, they have a nub and the double nubs with bottom receiving. They also weigh about a ton apiece. They're extremely heavy and they're large and they're thick. We like them. I believe their depth for most of them make it almost impossible for it to fall over if it's set on a level situation. Overall, we really like the product. So that being said, we're proposing to excavate as shown on the plan down into that stone area. We are sure that we'll encounter soil. We believe we will. And remove it to the depth as shown on the cross section here. Place a solid bed of crushed gravel like we have in years past on other projects, crushed stone, and work up from there with a couple of rows of blocks. We feel that we'll probably have close to 2 blocks buried most of the time, but depending upon the ebb and flow of the existing rock and the terrain, you might see a little bit more, a little bit less than that exposed. We usually have 2 concerns the commission in years past has had 2 concerns. One is turbidity in the water, and number 2 is compensatory storage. So I did what we've done in the past, which is turbidity we handle with a silt fence. If the silt fence and the water level is not down, then what we have to do is we do a turbidity curtain. The turbidity curtain is up top. All the walls that we've done over the years, and it's probably been 15 years of me doing walls with this commission, we've never had to use one because everybody opts to wait until it's dry so that they're not having to de-water as much. That's really important for cost and for construction purposes. So I have a feeling that you'll see the silt fence go in at the limit of work, and they'll probably avoid the turbidity curtain. The compensatory storage, the way we've dealt with it in years past also is crushed stone, taking account the void space that we provide with the extra crushed stone around and behind the wall itself. And so what we do is we do a mathematical model and we typically round up so that it's to the nearest half foot on the stone itself. We're not gonna have somebody build a 3.25 inch deep stone section. That's just ridiculous. So it's 3.5 feet, 4 feet, 4.5 feet, so that somebody can do it with a tape measure reasonably well. I think that's about it for this. Obviously, if Chapter 91 is needed, we'll be filing with them after this, after we're done. I'm trying to think here.
You think 91 would be required?
Mean low, let's see, mean high, where are we?
52 plus.
My
Mean
memory's-
low, or mean high?
If it's within mean high, then we have to file.
What does it say, 52.4?
Yeah, water surface. Mean low's 52 plus or minus, and we had. think being high is around 54, so the answer is I believe we're gonna have to file with chapter 91. I believe we will. I'll get confirmation on that, or maybe I'll talk to chapter 91 to make sure, but, I believe that there's a decent chance we'll have to file.
Yeah, I don't see mean high identified on the
Yeah,
plan,
I don't
Neither
either.
do
Yeah.
I.
but there's also that dark dash line that doesn't look like it's identified by anything.
And that is.
That might be mean
That
high.
is the mean high.
Yeah, so,
Yep, I was looking for the number that's associated with it, because it is in between a contour.
gotcha.
We've used, I think it's, 54.2 or something like that in the past. What we did was we worked out, remember when they were keeping track every day of the pond elevations? So what we did was we worked out a mathematical model and talked with the commission, back then, and have kind of held that as the mean of what they try to aim the ponds at. And we talked with New Bedford and Taunton, and that's what their goal is, to keep it year round. Of course,
Yeah.
we know that doesn't happen, but for a dam control structure, that's the best we're gonna get. So I do think we'll be in front of chapter 91 for this. So I think that's it for me, presentation wise, but happy to try to answer any questions you guys have.
Well, I'm noticing, and going forward, we're gonna see a lot of this, so I'm really noticing that what you have, like, you got a land surveyor stamp, you got your stamp, and you also have a structural engineering stamp, so.
Yeah, it's a rugged design, and it's not a big wall, but it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, we're gonna, going forward, there was a lot of damage done in this last.
How are they gonna set these blocks?
That's a great question. So the last time that we thought they were gonna need a crane on a site, they got an excavator to do it.
Okay. Just over from
so-
there, because you got a big deck here, I don't know how you're gonna get in that middle.
I
section.
think the proposal is gonna be to remove the deck temporarily.
Oh, okay.
That's the way I would do it.
Yeah.
Take the deck right off and run an excavator in the front, and I would solidify that.
But nothing in the water.
No,
no
goodness, no,
equipment.
no, nope.
They're gonna farm carry them 2 at a time. Just-
1,000 pounds?
Yeah.
2,000 pounds?
They're
You
those
said a ton, right?
refrigerator straps over the shoulder.
That's
I know a
right.
couple guys that could probably help.
Yeah, I believe I would bet it's gonna be an excavator. I don't think this warrants the crane lifting it over. I just don't see it, but you never know.
For taking the deck off, that's,
It happens a lot. We're seeing it happen for septic systems now too. We just had one, this past week for a septic repair. They had to take the deck right off.
well, yeah, it's because the septic's under the deck.
It was close
Or
enough. The
they've gotta
overdig
get-
was right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I don't think our standard orders of conditions are gonna work on this.
Well, if they have to take the deck off, where they
Is
put
this-
the deck?
Is the wall set in the water?
The wall's gonna be set in the dirt.
In the gravel.
But I don't wanna, it's gonna be in the gravel, but I don't want anyone to misinterpret and get there. We expect that there's a layer of stone and there's a layer of dirt underneath. When we excavate, that stone may be pushed back further in some cases than other. If it does, it's gonna collapse in and it's gonna look like we're pretty much at the water. That could happen for a large section, all of it, or none of it.
How deep are you going under the stone?
That's tough too. So, for example, John, over
Yeah.
here, the stone goes all the way out to 50 and a half,
Yeah.
right? And we're not sure how deep it's buried, if at all. We're proposing to set the bottom of our crushed stone at about 49.2. So,
Okay,
yeah, and the reason being is we'd rather be safe than not with these bottom blocks. You are dealing not with waves, but you do deal with ice out here. So you need a rugged base to keep
well, that's
those
what I was
blocks.
gonna,
I
because,
mean, we have seen what expanding ice can do in the
oh,
past.
it'll break this up in
It's
half.
less of a
Yes.
problem now because we don't have the winters that we used to have, but we've seen,
Yes.
just really expensive stone and concrete walls just crushed.
So the riprap is gonna ramp up to that wall.
It does, so, and that's what they like to see. They call it armor stone,
Yeah.
but that actually is very similar to what they spec out for the armor stone. So we felt keeping that in place, it would disturb the resource less and serve a purpose
Yeah.
of protection.
Interesting.
So,
I would like to know when Long Pond got to the bottom of the ocean.
yeah.
I'm just curious if my geography
What
is.
did Niles do this plan?
Top left corner,
Yeah, the
Yeah.
permeable turbidity
Bottom
barrier
of
detail.
Yeah, to the bottom of the ocean.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, that would be me. I do piers and docks and seawalls on the ocean as well. So. I
Sorry, I don't
copied
mean
the
to pick on you
detail.
then.
No, it's, Joe usually finds one or two
Usually pick
spelling
one.
errors.
Yeah, once in a while I give
What
them
are
a
you
break.
concerned about?
Yep.
Well,
The working in
He
the
raised me
water.
right to
We
look
don't
at
have
details,
anything.
so.
It's all basically our standard order.
Is there a pitch to the wall? Does it pitch back?
You're talking the top of the wall?
The actual wall, the front facing?
The way that I like to see them, the front, yes, it's stepped by, I think, a half an
All
inch.
right,
Half
so
an
it,
inch.
so
Yeah.
it does step
I
back.
mean,
It
I think the
tapers just a
proposal that's being
teeny
laid
bit.
out is-
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Sorry, we're having a minor discussion about
Yeah, but
potential
our standard
conditions.
orders and conditions don't cover like, you know,
No, I understand.
like when,
I don't necessarily see it. The discussion was, do we close the hearing, discuss possible conditions? I think the proposal you laid out covers,
pretty good.
covers anything I'd be concerned with. But I'm just one member, so.
That's the green card.
oh, a butters, all right. What do we usually say with work in the water? No machinery in the water.
Yeah, no
No
machine.
refueling.
So, I mean, I
No
would,
refueling, yeah, yeah.
I would,
Tell you guys not to throw the food wrappers in the lake.
Don't float the deck in the lake.
We can't store it in the lake?
No.
No, without a permit.
yeah, is there gonna be any loose
That'll-
material flying around? I mean, you know,
Not really, it's just,
when they rip off the deck, no.
I mean, do you have a place to hold the deck? That's the.
I don't believe they're gonna take it off in one piece.
They're
It's
just
an
gonna-
older
they're gonna
deck. I
disassemble
believe
it.
they're gonna have to disassemble the deck, move it and rebuild it. And that will be something they'll have to talk to Nate about, but I'm guessing that they'll have to detach or disassemble and then move it.
That's the only thing that's sticking with me is the work that might come in with the deck removal and repair. Everything else, I think, is pretty well
So
detailed.
Jamie, could
Why
this
put back the
potentially
old
be
one,
a
right?
seawall and construction of a new deck?
Probably don't want to.
It certainly could be. And I believe, yeah. I think maybe in my cover letter to Natural Heritage, I explained that. That I think the only way that they're gonna be able to do that is by removing and replacing the deck.
It does say in construction of a deck on existing.
Okay.
Do we have your natural heritage?
We
stuff?
got the okay back from them, I believe.
Oh, no, it does not. I'm sorry, I read
Let me see.
I don't think we have it.
Oh, we might not.
Nope.
No, I do not have the Natural Heritage response yet. So we should.
All right, so hold on then a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You see when it went in?
It went in
They got-
somewhere around the 13th.
30 days they have
Well, from the date they receive it.
from date to receive it, right?
They received it August, huh?
Can you read the stamp?
I can't read
It
those.
just says August 2024.
Yeah.
So, oh, let's see when they signed for it, maybe? No?
Well, I'm not, we don't have, if you guys are comfortable closing it, I'm happy to have it closed. If you need more time for the order or, we want confirmation from Natural Heritage, that's okay, whatever,
And this work is for this season.
I don't think so. This is gonna be for next year.
Okay,
Chapter 91, it's highly unlikely
yeah.
that I'm gonna get anything before December.
Right.
So
Back
you're
from
gonna,
that.
you're gonna hope that the water's gonna be lower next year.
Yes, I
Okay.
think we're gonna have to. Yeah. If we can somehow get through chapter 91 and the water's lower at the end of this year, then we'll probably be in and ask, but I doubt it, highly doubt it.
How long does an installation like that take place?
Well, you remember Hemlocks? We did one for the Pink family. And that went in, I want to say that took about 3 or 4 days. And that was terraced.
Was it this size?
It was a little bit shorter, but there was 2 of them. There was a lower and a higher.
Yeah,
They had more earthwork to do, so they got that done quick.
relatively quickly, yeah.
Yeah, they did. That would be the last, but yeah, I would say they'll get this done probably in a week if you
Yeah,
get
the
the
minute
right.
you start having exposed soil, you're praying that the rain gods won't come after you.
100%. Yeah, you want to get that first course down,
Absolutely, yeah.
and after that it goes super quick.
Now get in the first row.
Exactly.
That-
That first row.
Take your time.
Yep.
Measure 3 times. And the lot is what, 1.2 acres, so get a little bit of room to work there.
Yeah, this is one of those very long lots.
Long, thin
Yeah.
lot, yeah.
Yep, long and thin lots.
Okay, so, I need a motion to close the hearing. Issue an order of conditions with our standard conditions, and additionally, no machinery will be used in the water. Any material that enters the water at any time during any of this will be removed immediately. And we need a natural heritage confirmation before we issue the order of conditions.
So moved.
And, wait a minute,
Oh,
I'm not quite
sorry.
done. And any, conditions that are imposed by natural heritage will be added.
Sure.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
This standard is gonna be else. Shame, we think, on some of the things that we've looked at, cause this is a really good job, Jamie.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Except for that ocean.
Yeah, except for the ocean.
Bottom of ocean. All right. Thank you so much. You guys have a great night.
Thank you.
Same to
You
you,
too.
Jamie.
Say hi to Niles.
I will.
Okay, old business, 9 Cross Street.
Isn't that yours?
It is. Do you want me to stick around?
I don't know, what do we do?
No, actually, I think it's easy enough that Brandon wrote the order of conditions. There was only one change, which was, that I made, that, had the deed restriction that went with an occupancy permit, and I think that, my thought is, we'd like the deed restriction before work starts. We'd like that done up front instead of at the end. Because then we'll have it and we don't have to chase it out, put it up to Nate to do it or whatever, so. And did everybody get to see it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you seen the proposed order of conditions?
Yeah, she sent it to you.
Yes, I saw the draft. I
Okay.
haven't seen any edits.
And the only thing that was changed, besides filling in the dates, the only thing that was changed is the timing of the deed restriction.
You didn't see anything out of concern for
No, I saw
you?
that. I saw all of his recommendations originally. We were okay with that. Yeah, he wanted the restriction. He wanted some oversight.
Mhm.
Right,
I think that I mean, I understand why those things would be recommended.
yep.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing comes to mind of concern.
Did we close this hearing?
Yep.
Okay.
And we
So
just said we wanted to see it, so it's all done, and it's we signed, I believe we already signed the final page, so we don't have to do it again. So all set, I just wanted to bring it up and
Okay.
make sure everybody saw it.
Can you have Lori email me? Or actually, I've got to pick up the original to record it. So
Okay.
I'll have some, oh, thank you.
Okay.
Is this the original?
Let's see, this was in our package tonight. I think this is just his
What are you looking for?
conditions. I don't have the order, these are just conditions.
Oh, all right.
That's
Or
the
you,
order.
is that the order?
Yeah. It's 9 Cross Street. Yeah.
Conditions with it?
Yep. I think so.
I've got to wait for a sign.
Right, okay.
So that's okay, thank you. All right, I'll talk to Lori tomorrow or later this week.
Okay,
All right.
yep, she'll have it ready probably to go in the morning.
All right, thanks again.
See you later.
Bye.
See ya.
Night.
What are you here for?
Oh,
Oh, no, we did that first.
oh my God, you've been
Where
sitting
were
here?
you?
We approved that at the beginning of the meeting.
We
That's
were
the
trying-
first thing we did.
We were
Oh
trying to
my
figure out how
God.
far away you came. It's
But
good.
thanks,
Oh
oh,
my
man.
God.
I knew it wasn't logo.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh,
appreciate
you're all
Just
set.
remember our comments from previous years and you'll be fine. We had previous year comments, you know, keep the site clean, carry in, carry
Yeah,
out.
we've never had a problem with
We've
it.
Yeah,
never had a
we've
problem
never-
with you,
Very
so
happy
we
with
we
what
always
you're doing.
clean up
Except
well.
one point, learn how to spell tamarack.
Oh,
I'm telling
And
you,
Park.
I shouldn't be shy anything with words. All right, see you later.
Bye.
nice drive back.
Poor guy.
Pauline's Path.
Yeah, where is Pauline?
This, I'm just putting this on the last meeting, but Pauline's Path is, where Pauline used to live. It's, off of Howland Road
Off Howland.
subdivision.
Yeah.
So obvious.
Who is Pauline? All right,
She was the secretary for the planning board
Oh.
for eons.
For eons.
so what's
Yeah.
the complaint?
The complaint was from a neighbor that they hadn't flagged the well line and they were like, too close to it. Anyway, I went out and looked at it on my own, actually, and then the property owner and I went on a site visit, and he had, who did he have come and look at it? I want to say USDA, but the state came in, the state pulled his name out of a hat and went in and looked at it, and he had a whole report how wonderful the whole thing was. I did not see anything wrong with it, so it's basically just an update that I don't think he's impacting the wetland. He seems to be doing a pretty good job. Some of the wetland flags were gone, but there was nothing coming towards the wetland, and they were probably old. I don't know how long
What was the
ago.
project?
It was a subdivision, 3-lot subdivision. It was a 4-lot subdivision, but 3 houses are done.
And probably,
But it all
how many
looked
years
pretty
ago?
good.
What's the
How
actual
many
address
years
of the
ago?
work?
The actual what?
Address of the work.
Pauline's Path.
Pauline's Path.
Oh, yeah, it's
The
off of,
subdivision.
Was it about 15 years ago, was it?
not that much.
No?
Yeah, no, it wasn't because
But
we,
I did go,
Okay.
when they started construction, and like you're saying, it was perfect.
So there was a complaint that there was work near the wetland. You went out and inspected, you disagree, and we're good.
There's wetlands
yeah, I
way
don't think
back,
that if there's anything, I don't think the wetland's been impacted.
you know.
Thanks for the
And I
update.
think he has, and he was supposed to send it to me, but he has something from the state whenever they went in, and it says that everything looked fine. so.
Have we responded to the person who complained?
No, I should call him.
Okay.
Okay, 2 Edgewater Drive. I think I've been there 4 times, so I did not go this time. So, Michelle and Josh went to, let's have an update on 2 Edgewater.
And that's where the pictures are, right?
Yes.
Michelle, you want to take it away?
Sure. So we walked both properties. We started at 2 Edgewater, walked and looked at where they are with the work. Actually, it'd be good to go back this week and see if the fill has been removed and if he has seeded, because the plan was to have seeded and have bloomed and seeded by Friday. He was supposed to have removed all of the broken granite, all the pavers, all the extraneous material was supposed to be all removed yesterday. Today's Tuesday, so yesterday. We were there Friday afternoon. He should have the rest of the landscaping done. That should have been completed over the weekend. He did actually get a very large amount of ground cover, was planting it fairly close together, putting in a really good faith effort at stabilizing. So the neighbors did appear to be home. So after we spoke with the primary, we did go next door and spoke to the neighbors who have been reporting their complaints over the years, and spent a good amount of time, probably at least a half an hour, walking with them. They provided a stack of pictures, 5-6 inches thick, documenting the property over the years, the change in the elevation, and grading, which looks to be a significant amount of change that they have done to the property and the property line. There are significant places in the picture on the right. There are a couple of places where it's not just a busted wattle and there's some hay coming. There are spots where the chain link fence at the bottom is significantly being protruded by the ground. Now, at some point, if they don't put up a solid wall fence, there's always going to be some sort of infiltration that's coming over. But at this point right now, aside from one of the things that Josh and I did tell them, we would go back and look at the original plan that was proposed, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and look to see what kind of grading and elevation change has actually taken place. What did they propose versus what work has been done? If they've put in more terraced patios than what they actually proposed, and get a sense of how much work right along the water versus elevated platforms or additional porch area they have. Because it looks like there's more elevation change than probably was proposed originally. So we need to pull and review those initial site plans and do a comparison. At this point, there is a good amount of work and as much as could be to stabilize that area, though. They are never, ever, 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 ever going to get along. And so the best thing that we can do is, try to make it as right as possible. But unless, he cleans up unless he builds a garage, which he never has, and hides everything in it.
They
And
need
then
a berm to divert the water.
Yeah.
A big part of the problem. It's just so steep, and there's nothing on the edge. At least there wasn't last time. I don't know if they've changed
No, it just is going to continue to go down
Exactly.
unless there was a berm and made it run down into their little trap, little stone trap, basically, that they've got at the bottom.
So you're saying that the solution is to modify what they originally wanted to do, right?
Right.
I think they did modify what their original proposed plan is.
But not in a good way.
Well, when we went out there, we asked how the mulch was holding up, and admittedly, we hadn't seen any good rainstorms since they put it in. But there hadn't been any issues. I think we waited out until we see a good rainstorm and really see what the consequence is.
Because mulch does love to migrate.
Mm-hmm.
And they planted ground cover? A lot?
I hesitate to say a lot, but
Okay.
it's down.
Yeah.
There's definitely plantings.
It's better than what they originally planted, or their original plan, which was throw a
Loam
couple
and seed,
junipers
yeah.
in and call it a day.
Right,
No,
it's like
plants
Vinca,
on
right?
the
Did they
mulch
decide on the
hill
Vinca?
on the
Yeah.
side.
No, I mean, the original plan would just call for loam and seed, right?
Yeah, I think the original plan
Which
did
would
call
have
it
just-
loam
It was originally loam and seed, and then they said we had a mulched area before the proposed loam and seed, and that's where they're at now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Plus, everything was washing away with all that rain we had this year.
So
Right.
now it's kind of, actually, I hope they probably need to water it to make the ground cover live.
Yeah.
All right, so it's a wait and see then.
I'd say so.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so,
And one of them might kill the other. We're hoping not. We had really good conversations with both of them
Yeah.
and encouraged, positive move forward. So I'm very optimistic. Don't laugh at me.
I'm not, this situation.
okay, so next, do we want to look at the job proposals, or do we want to talk about the policy on continuances?
Policy of
Which one
continuances
can we
should
do
be,
without?
well, policy of continuances
Yeah.
should be relatively short.
Okay, I guess we didn't vote on it last time. That we would like to, we need to know, we have so many continuances and we saw it tonight
Mhm.
with these people that come out and come all the way here and it's continued. If we don't know, especially like with Rocky Woods, we
Let's just set
didn't
a
know
date.
till Monday,
Let's set
so,
a date prior to the meeting that they have to notify us in writing, or they don't get a continuance. What date would that be?
well, it's not that they don't get a continuance, we would have to make a decision, we can't just not continue them.
Why?
We have to,
We have to close it out one way or the other.
My only fear on that is if we're denying projects for a reason that isn't good,
right.
Yeah.
they're gonna appeal
Put
the
into
denial.
EP, right.
And that's not a good reason, that they didn't submit their information in a timely manner?
Probably not in DEP's eyes, to tell you the truth, it's kinda,
It's not a
Sketchy.
great reason,
yeah.
and it takes away our bite at the apple of conditioning these
Okay.
projects.
I defer.
I do think we need some, I mean, the other thing is they might say that they're coming, sit right in front of us and say, we'd like a continuance.
And
That
we
is something
can't
they
deny
could
it.
do.
Right,
Even though
I-
Kenneth Welch Boulevard's had
I mean,
continuances for over a year.
We could have multiple, you
I
get,
think if
X
we
number.
sat here and denied the 6 that continued tonight, all in one meeting, that wouldn't look good.
No, I understand that.
But if there was a serious,
Where is the,
right, where's the threshold?
right,
Yeah.
you get, here's the general guideline for continuances. Continuance for a reason, you get so many number of continuances, but after 6 months, if you don't have a justifiable reason for a continuance, you have a reason for a continuance. After 6 months, if you're just a no call, no show, we have the right to close you down. We've never heard from you. We've just gotten an email with no reason to request. Why do we keep wash, rinse, repeat, putting you on, and then the night before taking you off, putting you on the night before take you off? At a certain time, we can close you and then you
Yeah.
have to reapply. But I get,
I like good faith reasons, right?
Yeah.
If they can at least say, hey, we're requesting a continuance for XYZ.
we haven't heard back from Natural Heritage.
well, but the problem is that Nancy, as the acting agent, has been
I'm
having that.
not the acting agent, as the
I'm sorry,
chairman,
I'm
I
sorry, as the
am.
chairman, has had to call these people, and Bob, you used to do it too, right?
Right.
Have to call these
Right,
people to see.
I'm chasing them down, like 6 of them, 7 of them.
I don't
however
see on the
many we
job
do.
description that we should,
Huh?
that we should be chasing down people to find out if they're gonna be,
And I didn't know about Rocky
That's
Woods
me.
until yesterday.
Yeah.
so.
And there's a lot of people interested in that one. That's the main one. Some of the other ones, nobody shows up for some of the other ones, but Rocky Woods, it'd be nice. Like we had somebody tonight saying they didn't understand, even though Lori tried to, head it off, so people didn't come out over and over again, only to find out it's continued again. So that was my purpose for
Yeah.
putting that on here, is to, and I have to tell you, I gave them warning the meeting before. You have to request in writing a continuance, kinda, or else, and it still just happened again this week.
Somebody said something about it being in the Boston Globe as well. I know, I haven't seen it. but
Rocky
that's-
Woods?
That's, yeah,
In the Boston Globe?
in Boston Globe.
Well,
I
I'm
get the
just-
Globe every day. I haven't seen anything about that.
Well, let
I'm
me know.
happy that Cora from the tribe, Lori must have found her number to call her,
Yeah.
because that would have been too bad, that she was coming, I think, from Rhode Island.
Yeah.
That's,
How about we start by,
Unacceptable.
how about we start by putting a bulletin on our webpage
okay.
that says, we need a continuance in writing 2 days before the hearing. Just,
Two?
well, whatever you want.
Okay,
X day,
okay.
I don't care.
Well, I'd like to do it when we post the agenda, because we had one agenda. Was it our last agenda? I'm so proud of this agenda. Lori and I spent 3 days on this agenda because I like to put on the agenda when we post it that there's a continuance, so they see it right there, and she
Right.
doesn't have to do Facebook or whatever.
Okay, so,
By 11 a.m. the Friday before
Sure.
the meeting. Because
whenever
town
the-
hall closes at noon on Fridays.
Yeah,
When
but
is,
she
when,
has to,
When do
yeah,
we
when's the agenda
advertise?
posted?
she's been doing it way early, and I've asked her to let's wait and go over and over it, so we don't have to read
But
three
isn't there a-
changes, because then the town clerk is like, oh
Is
my
it
God.
the Wednesday prior to the
Wednesday
meeting
prior.
that it has to be in by?
Yeah.
That's when
Because
they
then she
actually call
posts
it in.
Thursday.
Okay,
But if it's a continuation, because there's a separate thing, like if there's a substantive change or, you know, somebody has a new plan that they want to amend or propose, I think that's a
It's just they never
separate
read.
thing.
That's it, they're just not ready.
Yeah, if it's just a continuation or an update, I think the Friday afternoon.
We can't on a holiday weekend, that's not gonna make it.
We're always gonna find an exception to the rule, and
Oh,
we're
yeah.
gonna, if we're a small town, we're gonna give exceptions. We're not
No.
gonna be so hard
I
and
can't
fast.
see, no, yeah, that's cutting it too close to post on Friday, cause we're all, the town hall's only open till 12 noon.
Then noon the Wednesday before, like we
Yeah.
Yeah.
said for everything else.
Yeah,
Or we
Yep.
stop putting continuances on our agenda.
but that's what we're trying to do, is show people that they don't have to show up. If it's not gonna be,
yeah, they
Like I
weren't on there.
said, they could show up and sit there and request a continuance, and all these people show up and
Yep.
we
Well-
issue the continuance the night of.
Yeah,
That's
there's always misinformation
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to that.
so why are we even addressing it? Just leave it the way it is.
Because we started with Rocky Woods.
Rocky Woods.
I don't think we were doing that before, but
I-
you gotta admit, how many continuances have we had every single week? And we started with Rocky Woods because we wanna be able to meet here, and we need to, if they're got 200 people are gonna come, we're gonna
can't
have
do
to maybe have a
Right.
different venue when Brandon actually comes at the end before, when we're actually gonna do something. So that's how it started, and then I think Lori just
Yeah.
started doing it with the other ones, so maybe we don't wanna put it on the agenda and leave it up to the people to call or whatever, but like I say, because of what happened at the library with Rocky Woods and 200 people show up at the meeting and then we get closed down, we gotta redo it like the zoning board had to do. They've had to do theirs at the library because there's been so much attention to it. So I'm just trying to,
I know you guys probably experienced it before, that, you get a request on a Friday for a continuance from a, what do I call it?
That order of conditions,
Order-
no, certificate of
Oh,
compliance.
yeah, yeah.
Compliance, thank you.
Friday
Somebody's
afternoon,
closing
that's when
next
those
week.
come in.
That's,
Yeah, yeah, and the meeting is tomorrow at 9 in the morning.
that's
Oh,
usually
yeah.
because it's a
Oh.
closing on a
Oh.
house sale, so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's.
And, you know, like something that we've been to many times before,
So, okay, so, and I would like to get Lori's opinion on this.
okay?
But what if on the webpage, we listed our active projects? And she just updated the webpage that they requested a continuance.
Oh,
Because there's no
Or the next
deadline
hearing date.
or a next hearing date. Because then there's no requirement of the town clerk to get it in by a
Okay,
certain time. And
Okay.
now, when people come or they call, hey, our meetings are posted on the website, take a look at that spreadsheet or whatever it may be.
okay.
That goes to one of my topics that I wanted to address anyway, which was we need to have a publicly reviewable list of all of our open projects. What's their current status and when does their orders run out? What do they have? An NOI,
Continue,
an ANRAD,
continue,
and what's the
continue.
date that it runs out? So it's easier for us to track, especially those of us who don't know off the top of their heads what 37 ANRADs run out when, or, but how many open projects do we have right now?
How many
Look back.
continuances do we do tonight?
Look back
5, 7?
probably more than 3 years to see, I mean, because now you have the tolling from when COVID happened.
I know, and that was just a rhetorical
Right, right.
question. But now is a great time to let's
Start.
just put all our ducks in a row, get an Excel spreadsheet, post it. This is what we have. This
Who
is the
updates
address.
who updates the website? Do we do
I
it
think
in-house?
Lori can update the way, only certain people
I
can
think,
update.
yeah, certain people
Yeah.
have the ability to. I'm guessing Lori is probably
Yeah.
one of them. But again, I don't want to overburden Lori
Complicate
either,
it.
so I would like her opinion on this. Is it something doable?
Might be easy. Much easier than what she's doing now.
Okay,
Yeah.
post on the Facebook.
Well, we're
It
not,
might
she
be a
doesn't know
little
when it
lift.
works for us.
Tracy-
No, I know,
Okay.
and that's why I'd like her
Tracy.
opinion on it.
Okay,
Yeah, Tracy might have to post it.
Who's Tracy?
She's
selectman
the
secretary,
town
executive
assistant.
secretary.
There's only a couple people who can actually post on the town site for certain things.
Those might be global memos.
Yeah,
I'm,
but she might be able to post
I
on
bet
our
Lori
page
probably,
specifically.
well,
Yeah, on
She-
our
If
page.
not, she knows who.
right,
Right.
and
All right, so let's
Ask
leave it
Lori.
on here for the next meeting and consult with Lori,
Yeah.
sure.
okay?
That's a good idea.
Okay,
It's a great
that's a
start.
very good idea. Okay, meeting minutes. Joe,
Meeting minutes. First, if you take a look, it says the minutes from May 28th, 204. So,
Oh, mine
like,
says 2024.
Mine says 2024.
I have the defective one evidently.
Yeah.
No, I
For
have
some reason,
204.
Mine says 204.
yeah, I got the 204 too.
They need for you to find something.
Yeah.
Now they started printing
They
yours
put it
different.
in just to make me happy. Anyway, I make a motion that we accept the, Town of Lakeville's Conservation Commission meeting for the meeting of May 28th, 2024, as presented to us.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to reopen review job descriptions.
Second.
And for whoever's watching, this is at 1 hour and 55 minutes into our meeting.
Okay, so start over again, at the selectmen's meeting a couple of meetings ago, I don't know exactly how many, it came up, 2 members from the planning board were requesting help for the planning board, and they were looking for a planning coordinator / conservation agent. So our interim town administrator had said, well, and they had the job description there that I had never seen. And so Bob asked, have you mentioned this to the Conservation Commission? And the silence fell over the room, obviously not, so we were a little late to the finding out. So the selectmen said, for our interim town administrator to meet with chairman of Concom, myself, chairman of planning board, Michelle, Bob, interim town administrator, Lacey, HR, and Nate Darling. So we all sat down and discussed all of this. And then, at one point, they were saying, what did I think that commission would prefer? And I said that I definitely needed come back to the commission. If they wanted me to, if I was gonna stick my neck out on my own opinion, I would say that I'd be in favor of a part-time conservation agent and not, a planning coordinator with conservation kind of as a afterthought almost, it looked like to me. So, then there was also talk about, instead of, there's either hiring a town planner and a conservation agent, or this other job description for a planner coordinator. So I said I would bring it back to the board to get an opinion of what we would like. And it also came up that if we decide that we're gonna recommend that we want, a part-time conservation agent, that, could we review the job description if there's any changes that we would like? So that would be on for the next meeting, should, whatever we should decide, if we should decide that.
So the first thing to decide is, do we want a part-time conservation agent, or do we want someone who does planning and conservation?
And I know for a while we had been discussing Brandon Fando's proposal. Are we not considering that at all?
That's not even in the conversation
Okay.
right now. I mean, maybe it could later if we say we want,
I mean,
if we're going with the agent, that could still be part of that.
Well, the other thing is that it's really not our decision, right? We can make a recommendation,
Right.
but we're not the hiring.
We're being
authority.
asked for our recommendation, and I would hope
E-
that,
Even with Fana, is my
Well,
point.
actually, he is, he's obtained through 53G funds. So an applicant would come in, establish a 53G, which is doable under our purview,
Yeah,
and then he would review the entire project. But
which
he would
is
just have a
essentially what we
contract.
do now, isn't it?
Yeah, but he would do everything.
Okay.
RDAs, NOIs.
Inspections,
In my
all that.
opinion, I think his proposal is, I wouldn't be in favor of it. To have someone come in and have to pay $500+ for an RDA.
Oh, yeah.
450,
was it 450 or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, by the time you advertise for the hearing,
Advertising.
you're probably $500.
Yeah.
And
we have a $30,000 budget for a conservation agent right now, and, that $30,000 is not breaking the town of Lakeville, believe me, because I had heard that argument, well, we'll take it off the town's, having a trouble balancing the budget, we'll take it off of there and put it all on the people of Lakeville.
so
I don't think I would be in favor of that either.
I'm gonna be careful not to use names. Have
Okay.
they advertised for the town planner position since the old planner left?
No, I'm saying no, but I don't think so.
I think we're gonna be very hard pressed to find a town planner if they're proposing $80,000. I think the town's gonna be hard pressed to find a town planner at $80,000.
It's more like 90,
Oh,
I think it's
But
89,
before we even get there,
yes.
we have two people who have acted, well, we have one person who was the conservation agent,
Mm-hmm.
and one person who has essentially been acting as the agent.
And still is, her retirement date is October 1st.
Oh, okay, all right, I wasn't aware
So
of
the
that.
way that it was written and went before the select board
Yeah,
and was approved is that it's October 1st.
Okay.
And then we should all keep in mind, stays on as a consultant. So we
Okay.
can pull the trigger.
so Bob, in your experience did you do 30 hours when you were here?
No, it's an 18-hour
Yeah.
Oh, it's
position.
18?
Yeah,
Oh, I must have read $30 an hour.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
that's what
all
it
right,
is.
all right.
yeah, it's an 18
Is that enough to do what you need to do? 18 hours a week?
We may go over that a little bit on occasion,
Okay,
but on the average, I think, yes, it is,
okay,
I think on the average, it was probably under.
probably.
okay.
It depends what
And then
you
you
want
can go,
to.
if you need to go over a little bit, you know, if there's a week that comes up and you really need to, I did it too. You know, if there's a week that comes up, you really need to do it, then you just take it
As
easy the
time goes
next
by,
week.
there's gonna be more filings, probably, they're gonna be more extensive. There's gonna be more
On
demands
marginal
on us.
pieces of land.
Yeah,
Well, we got Rocky Woods is gonna be.
Right, but then
Yeah.
we can do a
But we
peer
have a peer
reviewer
review,
on that, we
right.
don't need to, my thing is you just need somebody in the office with set hours that somebody can come in and talk to you
right.
or whomever.
That's what you don't see, the
and
number of
answer-
people that come through the office with, how do I do this? How do I file? Do I need to?
Right. And
That's a
that's
big
my other
portion.
reason for not going with Brandon, is there's not someone there to,
Right,
right, and we're not talking about that tonight, but
Okay.
So
that's,
oh, and there's a, there's a flood in my neighbor's yard, can you come look,
Right.
or something's
Well, I have
something's
another
going
question
wrong.
that just pertains to the two different
Okay,
job descriptions. So the requirements in these postings is for the conservation agent is a degree or advanced training in environmental science or related field. And a minimum of 3 to 5 years working in wetlands protection, land conservation. Does somebody who is a planner typically have that kind of education? Is it gonna be hard to find somebody with
Yes.
that?
yes.
Yes, it
Yes.
will.
So,
And that's what Lacey said at the meeting that I went to, who's our HR person, who has seen in other towns, number one, when they do that, it doesn't work,
yeah,
number one, and number two, it's really difficult to find a person it's two different disciplines, really.
well, yeah, they want a
Yeah.
bachelor's degree in planning or a related field.
Right.
Why would
For
they
the
wanna
planner.
work on conservation if they can devote all their time as a full-time
Right.
planner?
Yeah.
It just doesn't,
Yeah.
I think the town's gonna be hard pressed to find a planner at that price, and I'm speaking from experience, I've seen it.
Okay.
I think we might even have a hard time finding a agent
For
for part-time,
$30
maybe,
an hour.
maybe.
I don't know, there's some people retiring from DEP that have already voiced their,
I just went through the process in
Yeah.
Wareham.
yep,
We got very little in terms of applicants. And probably none that would meet these requirements.
well, that's why, oh, which one you looking at?
I'm talking about the part-time conservation agent.
It looks like you're looking
And
at the,
it's-
oh,
they're
you're
all-
underneath,
yeah.
okay.
And, but with that being said, we're gonna have, extremely hard time finding a land use coordinator. There's maybe 4 I can think of.
Well, that was the second thing, if we decide we want the agent, then we can maybe
Edit
make
this.
this
Tweak
less.
that.
Yeah, that would be on our next agenda. I didn't even ask anybody to come up with changes to this, because I didn't know which way we're going.
So I'm,
I do think we
So-
can make some changes to this that would be advantageous to us, but also a little bit that would maybe
Bring more
point
people
us-
in.
but point us more in the direction that we want to go as a commission. And
Why, and maybe we don't have the answer to this, why isn't the planning board just going for a full-time planner?
Right, that's, I think that,
They have the funds, they have the job description,
right.
why even pivot to something new? Did it come up in the meeting?
It came up a lot. Why
Well,
don't
they-
we just get another planner?
you can read the packet, gives all the benefits and everything.
No, I know, but who was against, who in that meeting was against hiring just a planner?
The planning board,
Why?
Can't think of a good reason.
They're taking a position that they already have
well, I think they wanted,
budgeted and
right,
a job description for,
Yeah.
and they're essentially saying, let's add
Oh,
more
no,
duties
no,
to
no,
that.
No, I know why.
they want to take our,
They want the money. If you add the money from the conservation agent to this,
they can up the salary.
they can up the salary for a planner.
Do they have,
Planner's already at 90, is that what you just said?
89, I think it's 89. I'm
Well,
So
sorry.
that was,
89.
I think that was the last
Yeah,
time they advertised.
I think
right?
80 was the last, 2001,
2021, yeah.
21, sorry.
80
Yeah, but
grand.
I think it's up to 89.
So what,
I'm
are they
pretty
gonna
sure
go
that's what
to-
I said.
What are they gonna go to 120 and probably get paid more than anyone?
Yeah, in town.
Yeah, I don't think, not many people are gonna be happy about that.
I
Can we
just don't,
continue this, or are they looking for?
No, they're looking for an answer, and I do have to say, personally, for me, I remember when we never had an agent. We got an agent because when I was a selectman, I got it in the budget. We never had an agent. So I have like a personal stake in this too, not wanting to give up our $30,000 that we have to have our own part-time agent.
I don't believe in warring fiefdoms in a town,
Mm.
but I just don't think
Warring
these two,
fiefdoms?
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
fiefdoms.
That's you wanting to keep your 30 grand and them wanting to keep their 90.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But, I just don't think these two jobs mesh.
Okay.
The
They don't.
requirements to do
They
them
don't.
don't mesh.
I hesitate to agree with you.
I know you do. And I know.
And
what-
that's my only hesitation on saying no.
I can see establishing a liaison officer or something that can go from one to the other, attend meetings on occasion, not vote, nothing like that, but just be responsible for communication between us because of the proximity and the nature of the work that we do. We all interact on a regular basis with planning, with health, board of health.
Yep.
Why don't we
And
have that
And
similar?
we've always had that communication.
That's my only hesitation to not vote down the land use person.
yeah, let's say we decide to buy a piece of property or assume responsibility for it, and we're
Rocky
gonna
Woods.
conserve it. Land use is.
Well, just
it-
look at Rocky Woods. You would
Yeah.
have someone attending every zoning board meeting and every conservation meeting. And
We
giving
need
a
to
report to
have-
the public. You know, here's all the information in one person's sphere.
We can't have a land planning coordinator that replaces a planning board and
Yeah.
a conservation, but we do need to have somebody that's sitting and serving in a liaison.
Well, that did come up too about property and that, kind of like property we've refused in the past, which has been, I was quick to verify that at the meeting that, you know, in a subdivision with a leftover wetland and they want to give it to us because it's a leftover wetland and they don't want to pay the taxes on it or whatever is land that we have said we wouldn't take. But there is no way on earth that we wouldn't, if a big beautiful piece of land came, that we wouldn't work towards getting that protected, because that's what we just did at Lakeville Nursery property.
So maybe we need to,
Wildlands
Well,
Trust, we
well,
have a
but-
land
But getting
trust.
something protected is one thing.
Right.
Maintaining something is a whole nother
That's another
story.
story, yeah.
maybe we need to, as we look towards our recommendation in future planning, is we need to keep planning and conservation separate. They're two positions, but we need to make sure that we have somebody present at planning and zoning meetings and select board meetings as
So-
a representative of
Yeah,
our,
I
as our, of our
I
commission.
think that's a lot to
times.
ask from
Yeah.
somebody.
I don't think anyone's
And
gonna.
and
But
not
why
vote.
can't-
necessarily every time, but when there's
Everything
something
is
that's
is online. now.
pertinent.
I've been doing that my whole 25 years with the town.
So-
You know, knowing what's going on at the zoning board. Hey, when the town planner came, that didn't end up making it, I made it my business to go in and first time I talked to him on the phone, I hung up on him, and then I went and sat in his office for an hour and a half and said, look, we need to get along because we're gonna work together, so.
So you said, well, you had so you had a meeting with four people, including
That's
you?
what the selectmen asked. It was
Right.
myself, chairman of Concom, chairman of planning
Yeah,
board,
yeah,
HR, town administrator, and Nate Donovan.
so five
Five.
of you. What was the breakup? Who wanted what?
Okay,
Or
so,
maybe, I won't
okay.
even put you on the spot to
I don't
identify
care.
who
You
wanted
can.
what, but how many people wanted to stay planner, Concom agent?
3.
3?
Out
And
of
how many,
5. No, yeah, planner, yeah,
so
3.
we would
Three
hire a
wanted
planner?
it, wanted the,
Say again?
3 people wanted the dual
Yes.
agent.
No,
No, separation of church.
Oh,
Separation of
okay. Yeah.
church and state. Yes, out of 5. One
was
at
it?
the,
Now I'm interested on
one
who.
wanted the planner and one was,
Stan
Yeah.
just didn't make a recommendation.
You know, to have the person who can go to different meetings or different boards is important, because there's a great line.
oh,
If
Well,
you're not-
we
if you're
have-
if you're not at the table, you're probably on the menu.
Well, we should already have that, and that's the select board liaison.
Right.
Whoever is the select board liaison for our commission should probably be the liaison for planning and zoning as well.
Like I said, that's a
Should be
lot
the
to
same
ask for
person.
somebody.
Yeah.
I agree, along with select board meetings.
But why can't, I mean, everything is on video now.
Right.
I mean, you can check on, I know for a fact Nate, well, he watches every single meeting there is. But you can easily do that without having to go to it. I think it's a lot to ask anybody to attend zoning, planning, conservation, selectmen meet every week.
Oh, yeah.
or you can just
You divide it up, it doesn't have to be all one person.
do it through the town administrator.
But
He
then
knows
you got
what's
more
going on.
fragmentation that way too, when there's different people.
The other thing
I
is
think
to
this
sit
is-
through a whole meeting for one particular agenda
Yep.
item.
Yeah.
I wish I just had more information before making this decision.
Well, we don't
That's
have.
my problem.
Well, let me make it easy. I'll make a motion. If it passes, it passes. If it
Mhm.
doesn't, it doesn't.
Go ahead.
I make a motion that we keep the conservation agent separate from the planning department.
Second.
Discussion.
Discussion, we already just discussed.
No.
Okay,
it's
you can do more.
It's discussion.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, are you?
The motion's been, we have a motion
I'm gonna
and a
vote
second.
nay. I want
Let's
more
do
information.
I'm calling for a roll call vote.
Okay.
How's
Okay.
that?
Sure.
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
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 They already beat us.
We want to hear the roll call vote.
Nay.
Okay.
Passes,
Yep.
but not unanimously.
So,
No, but it's a
I do
recommendation.
think it's something we
not-
still
Right.
need, we need to continue to discuss amongst ourselves how we want to handle working with the other boards and moving through this process.
And that
So that
should-
we still have a voice with whatever decision they make, with or without us.
Well, in the past, we've had representatives, like, somebody would go to the board meeting, report back to us. You were on something and you
Yeah.
report, what were you on?
that's
And
more
you
like
reported back to
Serpid
us.
and,
It's
I mean,
what?
that's like bigger items, like Serpid and stuff like that.
I was assigned to the master plan committee.
That's
Oh,
right.
Right.
I think it
okay.
was. the
Open
master-
space, right? We have someone from our commission on open space.
I
No?
don't think so.
Oh, yeah, I'm on, no, oh,
You're
no,
on-
no, I'm a master plan.
Oh, we
So-
probably should have someone on open space.
We're talking ourselves
You were
into
on
it
open
here.
space.
I was on it, but.
One of us should
I
probably.
got my hands full right now.
You're on CPA, which
Yes,
I don't know if you're on, no, you're on there on your own capacity, not anything from our board.
no, yeah, yeah, I'm,
You're from our board?
yeah,
Oh, well then, there you go.
yeah, I'm
Okay.
Concom's representative, CPA, and I'm the treasurer now. I was the, chairman, got the plan written, then,
I'm Concom's representative to the assessors board.
Thank you for your service.
okay, so we did it. That's our recommendation that we'll put forward.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Third.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.